top stories. Flag-raising ceremony held for CARICOM anniversary. Jamaican woman and child who fought receive counseling, and Joe Biden announces COVID jab requirements for U.S. federal workers. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today's Friday, the 30th of July, 2021. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, on Friday morning, St. Kitts and Nevis took part in celebrations to mark the 48th anniversary of CARICOM with a flag-raising ceremony at National Heroes Park. Members of government and other invited guests were among those in attendance at the event. The ceremony included brief remarks by CARICOM Ambassador, His Excellency Sidney Osborne, and a feature address by Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris. The proceedings were hosted by the Ministry of International Trade in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Regional Integration and Diaspora Unit, and the CARICOM Youth Ambassador. Health authorities in St. Kitts and Nevis successfully managed the second wave of the COVID-19 virus, which was later identified as the Lambda variant. Officials say there's no evidence of a new variant being in the Federation. However, they're being extremely vigilant in monitoring the situation on the ground. Dr. Cameron Wilkinson, the medical chief of staff at the Joseph N. France General Hospital, gave an update on samples sent to the Caribbean Public Health Agency and on inoculating 12 to 18-year-olds. He did so during the NEOC COVID-19 briefing on Wednesday.
In terms of the variant, we have sent off other samples to CAFA for testing, for genomic sequencing, and so when we get those results back, we'll see whether or not we have any other variants here in the population circulating. The Pfizer is for persons between the age of 12 to 18, that is the under 18, 12 to 18, and not just under 18. And yes, we have said before that we are seeking to get other vaccines, and I do hope that sometime soon we would get some Pfizer vaccines so that we can have our 12 to 18-year-olds immunized, and that would help to boost our population immunity and allow us to absorb more risk.
He said this is particularly important as several Caribbean countries have confirmed the Delta, Alpha, and Gamma variants of the virus within their borders. The World Health Organization has designated the Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Delta variants as quote-unquote variants of concern. It reports that the Alpha variant is present in 182 countries, Delta is in 132, Beta in 131, and Gamma in 81 countries. According to NPR.org, the Lambda variant has been identified in 28 countries as of July 22. Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Lindsay Grant, says the visit of the Seabourn Odyssey cruise liner on Thursday, the 22nd of July, was a success. In an interview, Minister Grant is quoted as saying, "I am happy to welcome the first cruise vessel after some 18 months of hiatus, and we welcome the Seabourn Odyssey to the Carambola area of the Southeast Friars Bay," end quote. He stated as well that the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, in its attempts to recapture the successes of the tourism industry, which occurred prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, the government is starting, quote, "very small and very limited," end quote. The Seabourn Odyssey arrived with 103 passengers and 333 crew members, with the crew being almost 3 times the number of passengers. Minister Grant also explained the reason for the passengers utilizing the Carambola Beach Club. He said, quote, "The Federation is the only island giving the passengers on that particular cruise a beach day, and so we seized the opportunity to be able to engage them, having a beach day, and of course being able to do several tours. We are ready and able and willing again to welcome the Seabourn Odyssey on Friday, and we are hopeful that everything again will go smoothly," end quote. We now move to news on the regional scene. A woman and child seen in a recent viral video having a physical altercation are receiving counseling from the Child Protection and Family Services Agency. More in this CVM Live News report.
Now, a woman and child seen in a recent viral video having a physical altercation are receiving counseling from the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, the CPFSA. The agency says the video showing the adult hitting the child and the child retaliating was brought to its attention last week following assistance from the Center for Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse investigators, located the child. Based on an assessment, it was revealed that both parties are related. The family has been referred to the Children and Family Support Unit for continued intervention to include parenting training. CEO of the CPFSA, Rosalie Gage-Gray, says this case has again highlighted the society's reliance on violence to discipline children and solve problems, even in the home. She's calling on parents to seek intervention early when they need help for their children.
A multi-stakeholder group has taken its mercury reduction project to Barbuda. The group is raising awareness of the potentially harmful effects of the toxic substance. They're promoting an environmentally friendly disposal method for mercury-containing fluorescent bulbs. ABS's Jamie J. Rocher filed this report.
The team hands over 4 bins to the Barbuda Council to collect mercury-containing fluorescent bulbs. National Solid Waste Management Authority General Manager Darrell Spencer says this will allow the authority to dispose of the bulbs safely.
The authorities will place the bins at various retailers across the island. The idea is the owners will educate their customers on how to dump the bulbs, which will then be transported to Antigua for disposal.
Landfill manager Emmanuel Dubois explains what happens next.
And we also have an equipment that will safely manage all fluorescent light bulbs by extracting the glass and the mercury. That mercury will properly be stored pending export for destruction.
They demonstrated the bulb crushing machine during a launch in Antigua in early July. Barbuda Council Chair Jacqueline Frank thanks the group for including the Sister Isle in the project.
I'm glad of the opportunity for you to raise the population's awareness with regards to the dangers of mercury, because it's probably been heard of by a lot of people, but they don't have the details and the information.
The Solid Waste Management Authority has partnered with Integrated Health Outreach, Zero Waste Antigua, Marine Ecosystem Protected Area Trust, Medical Association of Antigua and Barbuda, and Christian Union, funded by Jeff Small Grants Program. The Department of Analytical Services is also providing support.
From Barbuda, I am Jamie J. Rocher reporting for ABS News.
Internationally, U.S. President Joe Biden has announced a new push to get more Americans vaccinated, including new rules for federal government employees and cash incentives. Al Jazeera's Shihab Ratan reports.
Just a few weeks ago, the White House was touting what it said would be a summer of joy and freedom. Things have changed.
This is an American tragedy. People are dying and will die who don't have to die. If you're out there unvaccinated, you don't have to die.
The US president announced a mixture of incentives and requirements. Employers will be reimbursed for paid sick leave given to employees to get vaccinated, and Biden urged local authorities to use emergency federal aid to offer the unvaccinated $100 to get their shots. In addition, federal government employees and contractors will be required to disclose their vaccination status. If they refuse or are unvaccinated, they will be required to wear a mask no matter their location, physically distance from others, be tested weekly or twice weekly, and have travel restrictions imposed. But this isn't a federal vaccine mandate. The president said he wasn't clear about the legality of one, and federal employees have a choice not to get vaccinated, but clearly their working lives will be more difficult as a result. Biden made it clear this was not a partisan issue.
The vaccine was developed and authorized under a Republican administration, and it's been distributed and administered under a Democratic administration. The vaccines are safe, highly effective. There's nothing political about them.
We have a country in crisis.
That wasn't the message on Capitol Hill, where masks are now mandatory in the House of Representatives, leading to statements of outrage from the Republican minority leader. He tweeted that liberal officials wanted to live in a perpetual pandemic state, which led to this withering response from the Democratic Speaker of the House.
Leader McCarthy says it's against the science.
It's a very unusual, rare event.
The administration's leading virus expert has been trying to explain this is a dynamic situation.
What's changed, Judy, is the virus has changed. The Delta variant has a very unusual capability of spreading much more easily than the Alpha did.
The debate about masking in schools is getting heated across the country.
These kids are not affected. Please stop the insanity. you have already done damage to these kids by having them wear masks.
It is.
But other parents argue that it's masking up that would end the confusion about safety.
Oh, tremendously more so comfortable because strategy worked. They proved it worked. They proved it worked last year.
But perhaps there are some hopeful signs that those who've decided not to get vaccinated so far may not be firmly entrenched in their position. While still way down from the peak seen in April, the numbers of those getting vaccinated have been creeping up week on week. Shia Britansi, Al Jazeera, Washington.
From severe flooding to extreme heat, the United Kingdom is struggling to cope with dangerously extreme weather. And climate scientists in the UK are warning that extreme weather events will become more common. Al Jazeera.
As the minister would have stated earlier, thank you for giving yourself, because we understand that the commitment that you have given, it's an opportunity to serve the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and we say thank you. Thank you, thank you. We would like to also thank Ms. Vashina Bolas, who when I called upon, I said, Ms. Bolas, I learned you can sing. And I asked her and she said, Mrs. Waters, give me an hour to think about it. However, she would have committed, and Ms. Bolas, I want to say thank you for so ably rendering the national anthem this morning. Our mistress of ceremony, Ms. Isilma Isaac, who said, woo! I called Mr. Williams and I said, Mr. Williams, this is what I'm thinking. And Mr. Williams concurred and said, she is the best person and would do an excellent job. So thank you this morning, Ms. Isaac. We would also like to thank, who is not here with us, I would have to recognize two persons. Our engineering manager, who is not here with us today, I know he's viewing. He would have been working with our retirees as well, and the knowledge that he is also instilling in them, and the commitment, the cohesiveness to continuously work with you. And thank you, Mr. Kelly, as well, for working along with our retirees. With that being said, we say thank you to everybody who is here, who is viewing live, and we wish you a wonderful, wonderful Friday afternoon. And we just hope, and we are asking our retirees, yes, to still come around, because you are family. You are a part of the Skellig family. Thank you very much, and have a pleasant good afternoon.
In dangerously extreme weather conditions. Sonia Gallego, Al Jazeera.
And now for the weather. Present weather shows partly cloudy skies. Winds are a moderate breeze of 14 miles per hour from a northeasterly direction. The temperature is 28 degrees Celsius or 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are moderate with waves not exceeding 4 feet. The weather for today will be partly cloudy with a 50% or moderate chance of showers, and tonight partly cloudy skies with a 40% or moderate chance of showers of late night into early morning showers. Sunset today will be at 6:44 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:49 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.